Hello, my fantastic reading friends. It is Mrs. Aurelia, and this week for our library assignment, we are going to be doing something a little bit different. This week, well, a couple weeks ago actually, the Oregon Battle of the books for the 3rd through 5th grade division were released, so we know what the books are going to be already for next year. So I want to go through and give you a little book talk, which is where you just show a book and talk a little bit about it to get people excited about it. We're going to do a little book talk for each of the books that were chosen to be Oregon Battle of the books for next year. So I am sending this video as your library assignments for the 2nd graders, 3rd graders, 4th graders, and 5th graders. So 2nd graders, you are brand new to OBOB. You have never had the chance to do OBOB before, but next year as 3rd graders, you are going to get to also participate in Battle of the Books if you would like to. For those of you that haven't participated before, what Battle of the Books is it is a competition where you get together with a group of readers. There can be 4 or 5 of you, and you get together and read all of the books that are put out as Battle of the books, and then you have a little competition going back and forth with questions from the book. So it's a really fun way to share the things that you learned from reading and to be with a group of people and get to talk about reading, which is really exciting. But even if you aren't going to participate in OBOB, or for the 5th graders that are going to be 6th graders next year, these are still really, really great books, even if you aren't going to get to participate. There's some old books, some new books. They're from all different genres, and every year they're just really good books that they pick. So I still want to share them with you, and I still want you to get excited about some of them and see the books that are on there, because like I said, they're all really great books. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Put myself up in the corner. Switch this to present mode. And this is a slideshow that I've put together about the books. I'm going to go through and talk about each book for about a minute. Every year there are 16 books that are part of Battle of the Books. So that means if you're in a team of 4, each person would need to read 4 books, but usually you like to have more than one person read each book so that there's different people that can work together for each question. So that's something to think about. So I'm going to go through and tell you about the books that were picked for this year. If you want to keep a list of ones that you like at the end of the video and for your assignment this week, I'm going to ask you which of these books is the most interesting to you and why. So that's something to keep thinking about while I go ahead and go through this. So here is our first Battle of the book. It is called Before They Were Authors, and it is by Elizabeth Haddle. This book is it's a graphic novel, which is always super cool. And this is about different really famous writers. So it's about like Maya Angelou, C.S. Lewis, J.K. Rowling, Roald Dahl. So lots of authors that you know, and this is about what their childhood was like and what inspired them to be an author. I'm personally really excited about this book, and I haven't read it yet. So this is one of the books. The next book is called Bob. It is by Wendy Mass and Rebecca Steed, and Rebecca Steed is one of my favorite authors, so I'm really excited about this one because I haven't read it either. So this one is about a girl named Livy, and she is going to visit her grandma. She hasn't visited her grandma in 5 years, and she feels like there's something important about her grandma's house that she's not remembering. But then she gets there, and there is a creature named Bob, who is a short, greenish creature that is wearing a chicken suit. And he has not forgotten that Livy promised to come back in 5 years and help him find his way home. So together they are going to work together to help Bob get back home. The next one is A Boy Called Bat, and this is one that I actually plan on reading next. I'm really excited about it. This is by Alana K. Arnold. And this is about a boy named Bat, which is a nickname. And he is on the autism spectrum, and he feels like his life is full of surprises, which I know I feel that way sometimes too. So in this book, Bat has a good surprise one day whenever his mom, who is a veterinarian, brings home a baby skunk, which is called a kit. And Bat makes it his job to convince his mom that the skunk would make a good pet and a good friend. This one is another fantasy book, and it is called Changeling by William Ritter. This is the first book in a series, so sometimes I always get really excited whenever they include first books in series so that you can keep reading if you like them. This one in this story, it opens with the magic in the wild woods is fading. And in order to save the magic, there is a goblin colony, and the goblins need to perform a ritual to keep the magic from fading. And as part of this ritual, they have to switch a goblin baby with a human baby and change them into the opposite. But something goes wrong, and then the babies get mixed up, and they're not sure which one is which. So there are two brothers. One is human and one is goblin, but nobody knows which one because of this ritual. They together are going to go on a journey into the deep dark to reach a goblin horde and uncover who they are in order to save the forest. That one sounds like a really exciting fantasy adventure. The next one is one I'm sure a lot of you have read, and I know it's really, really popular. This is the first book in the Wings of Fire series, which is called The Dragonette Prophecy by Tui Sutherland. In this one begins with Clay, and him and his 4 other dragonette friends have been raised together in the mountains, and they know that it is their destiny to fulfill a mysterious prophecy that will end a war that's been going on, but they don't know how that this is going to happen. And honestly, not all of them want to be part of this destiny. So this is the first book where we get to meet Clay and his friends and figure out what this prophecy is all about. The next one is another graphic novel, and it's one that I really, really like. It's also won a Newbery Medal because it's just such an awesome book. So this is El Defo, and it is by C.C. Bell. This is written by C.C. Bell, and it's about C.C. Bell's life. So she experienced hearing loss as a kid, and she couldn't hear until she got these big hearing aids, and she calls them the phonic ear. And they give her the ability to hear really well when she couldn't really hear before. But sometimes she hears things that she shouldn't, and they make her feel like she has a hard time making friends. So this book is about how she becomes a superhero, El Defo listener for all, in order to make friends. And it's a really good graphic novel. The next one is called Fatty Legs, and it is by Christy Jordan Fenton and Margaret Pocock Fenton. These are mother and daughter. So this is a memoir, and in this, 8-year-old Margaret decides that she wants to learn how to read. And the only school that's in her village, she lives in the Arctic, so where it's really, really cold, and she's in a native tribe to this land called the Inuit. And her goal is to learn how to read, and in order to do this, she has to go to a school that is a 5-day trek away. And these are called residential schools. So the way that these work are that nuns teach kids that were from native children in these schools. So she wants to learn how to read, and she finds that this journey is not going to be easy, and learning how to read isn't going to be easy. Going to this residential school as a native girl isn't going to be easy, and this is the journey of how that goes for her. The next one is realistic fiction, and it is called Front Desk by Kelly Yang. This book is about Mia Tang. So this is Mia Tang in the cover right here. And she has a lot of secrets. One of these secrets is that she lives in a motel. While her parents clean the rooms during the day, she manages the front desk. The second secret is that her parents hide immigrants in the vacant rooms, the empty rooms of the hotel. And the third secret is that she really wants to be a writer. The next book is called The Night Fairy, and this is one that I've actually been wanting to read for a long time because I love fantasy books and books with fairies in them. So this book by Laura Amy Schultz has us think about what would happen if a fairy lost her wings. That's exactly what happens to Flory, who is a young fairy that is really, really small. And the world is going to be big and dangerous without her wings, but she is really fierce, and we get to hear about what it's like for her without her wings. The next book is another book that I love. This one's really personal to me because I was actually in kindergarten when 9/11 happened, and this is about September 11th. So it is called 9/10, A September 11th Story by Nora Raleigh Baskin. This is about that day whenever there was a terrorist attack and planes struck in New York in America. They struck the World Trade Center. And this is the perspective of 4 different kids and what they are doing during that day. These kids don't know each other at the beginning of the story, and then their stories kind of intersect in different ways. So it has all of their different perspectives, and they come together. which is really cool. The next one is an awesome sports book. It is called Power Forward, and it is by Hina Khan. It is about Zaid Salim, and he wants to be a basketball player, and he knows that he is going to be a star. But the problem is that his parents don't understand, and they want him to play violin instead. So this is about how he pushes for his dream to keep playing basketball. The next one, I love scary stories, and I know from talking with a lot of you during library time that you love scary stories too. So this is one to pay attention to. This one is called Small Spaces, and it is written by Catherine Arden. So this one is about a girl named Ollie, and she has a tragedy that strikes before the book starts, and she's kind of in a sad place. And she likes to read a lot, and her most recent read is a chilling ghost story about a girl, two brothers, and a peculiar man with that's called the Smiling Man, and they kind of make an agreement, and you get to read about that story. And then she begins to wonder if the Smiling Man might actually be real whenever she stumbles upon the graves of the people in the story that she read during a field trip at a farm. So she has to figure out if the story is real or not. The next book is called Space Case, and it is by Stuart Gibbs. The really cool thing about this book is it is like a murder mystery book, but set in space. So the main character, his name is Dashiell. He is really bored on the moon base because there's like nothing for kids to do. And then the head scientist at the base turns up dead from a malfunction with his helmet. But we think that there might be something more to the story. So we get to hear about that and solve the mystery. Unusual Chickens for the Exceptional Poultry Farmer by Kelly Jones is one that I'm also really excited about that I haven't read before. So this one is about a girl named Sophie, and she's kind of lost whenever her parents move from a farm, when they move from LA to a farm that her uncle owns. And she thinks it's going to be really boring. But then a chicken starts to move things with the powers of his brain, and then she thinks that maybe it won't be so boring after all. The next one is The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street by Karina Yan Glasser, and this one is one that I love. I love this book, and I've also gotten lots of requests for it in the library this year, so I know it's a really popular one that you guys are liking too, so I'm really happy they picked this one. So in this one, it's about a family that have always lived in the same brownstone building on 141st Street, but then they find out that they're renting it, and they find out that the landlord, the person that owns the building, isn't going to rent to them anymore, so they have to convince the landlord that they are wonderful and that they should keep their home. And the final book for Battle of the Books for next year is called A Wolf Called Wander. And it is about Swift, who is a young wolf cub, and he's living with his pack in the mountains learning to hunt. And then their pack gets attacked by another pack, and his family scatters all over the place. So Swift has to flee and go on this journey, and his journey is full of scary things like forest fires and hunters and highways, and he gets really hungry. But he has to go through all of this before he finds his new home. And he's doing this in the Pacific Northwest, and this is actually based on the story of a wolf that was found in Oregon. So that's kind of a cool connection that we have to this book. So I'm going to post a link to these slides so that you can see them also and go back through them. But again, I'm really excited about the books that they picked for Battle of the Books this year, and I hope that you are too. I hope that you found, whether you're going to do Battle of the Books or not, I hope that you found at least one book that seems interesting to you. I know that I did when I read the list. So let me know which book it is that sounds the best to you and why. Thank you again, Panthers. Bye.